When Din met Ahsoka and she told him that if he takes baby Grogu to Tython and lays him on the Seeing Stone that he can reach out into the Force and a Jedi will detect his presence and come take him back. The Mandalorian obviously lets Grogu choose his path, but instead of a Jedi, we got Boba Fett, Fennec Shand, a company of stormtroopers, and Moff Gideon's dark troopers. But the fans are still waiting and speculating as to what Jedi will ultimately show up, and the man on many people's list is this guy.
Take a seat.
Who's scruffy looking?
Wanting Mace Windu to make a comeback in canon has been around for a long time. In 2016, Samuel Jackson said that he personally believes that Mace Windu is actually alive. Jackson went on Twitter and said this to a fan after being asked about that very subject.
As in most Star Wars movies, it was George Lucas' idea to kill Mace Windu. He said he killed all these important characters and all these other movies leading up to that, and said the only person left to kill that would mean anything in episode 3 would be me. I was trying to figure out, really? Can't you just injure me and whatever? But in my mind, I'm not dead. Jedis can fall incredibly high distances and not die.
In The Force Unleashed, we see Ram Koda get force-pushed out of a floor and plummet from the upper atmosphere of Nar Shaddaa. This is not unlike what we see happen to Mace Windu in his final moments, where he's force-lightninged by Palpatine and pushed out of the window and falls miles down to his eventual death. Fortunately, in the case of Koda, falling from the upper atmosphere with nothing to stop him only resulted in blindness.
Yeah, I'm still trying to figure that one out.
I think since this very moment, fans have speculated that if it was possible for Ram Koda, who was actually the apprentice to Windu, to have fallen that far and lived, it was possible that Mace could have lived as well. Coincidentally, or not, almost all of the Photoshop pictures of living Mace Windu post-Revenge of the Sith have him as a blind man. And like I said, this kind of speculation isn't really new. One of the images I always remember floating around on the Star Wars rumor mill was this image of a crazy Jedi in Exile version of Mace Windu in the Clone Wars animation style. This came out around the time of those other images that were fan art promoting who they thought could make an appearance in Star Wars Rebels. And now that The Mandalorian has been going pretty wild with its cameos this season, even going as far as to bring back characters from what we thought were presumably dead, I can understand why fans would want to see Mace Windu make an appearance. He's a fan favorite, and Samuel Jackson has made it very clear that he would like to return to the franchise. There was also some rumors that he might be even getting his own Disney Plus series in the future. Of course, that was probably made up, but there is a correlation there. Din has been searching for someone to help Grogu reach his Jedi potential, and Mace, being one of the most powerful Jedi to ever live, would certainly be able to help Grogu. And of course, there are other options out there as well during this time period. Ezra is out there somewhere, Cal Kestis has not been confirmed dead, and neither is Quinlan Vos, and Ahsoka is still an option. But the case of Mace Windu is particularly special and semi-hypocritical. Hear me out on this one. George Lucas personally decided on the decision to kill Mace Windu, and Anakin participating in the death of his former peer and the co-leader of the Jedi Council and his one-time mentor is a key element in his fall and the rise of Darth Vader. In fact, it was the straw that broke the camel's back. Anakin Skywalker aiding in the death of Mace Windu is what turned him into Darth Vader. It was the moment he crossed the line for good. If suddenly Mace Windu lives, then Anakin killing him on Coruscant means nothing. That tragedy in that moment is completely watered down to mean almost nothing. If Anakin didn't really kill Mace Windu, then why did he become Darth Vader? The other issue is the same issue I had with George's sequel trilogy story treatments, in which 50 to 100 Jedi suddenly show up after the war to help Luke rebuild the Order. Where were these Jedi during the war when the Alliance needed help? If Mace Windu makes a return, where the hell was he during the war? Would he not want to help bring justice to the two men that participated in the downfall of the Jedi Order? Why wasn't he in contact with his friends Obi-Wan or Yoda? I could go on and on all day with that, but I'll get on with it. I think the real sham when it comes to bringing back Mace Windu at any point in the timeline is that it's super hypocritical. Since the Rise of Skywalker, fans have been jumping on every opportunity to point out that the Emperor coming back and having Rey and Ben defeat him delegitimizes Anakin's arc, and that's a fair point. I don't agree, but I can empathize with it. My question is, why are you complaining about that, but not this? Bringing back Mace Windu is just as much of a slap in Anakin's face as that argument. Like I said, if Mace Windu is brought back from the dead, the pivotal point in Anakin's fall to the dark side is completely undermined, and his story is watered down to a simple misunderstanding and not a true tragedy. Mace Windu also really has no place in The Mandalorian. Season 2 has brought back a bunch of characters and thrown them into the mix with Din and Grogu, but they all have one thing in common. They're all related to Mandalore in some way or another. Cobb Vanth is a phony Mandalorian. Bo-Katan is obviously Mandalorian royalty. Ahsoka was the Jedi that helped Mandalore when they needed one most, and Boba Fett is the son of a foundling of Mandalore. Mace Windu doesn't have a connection to Mandalore or Mandalorians at all, so it would feel entirely out of place to have him in there. I always want to know your thoughts. Do you think Mace Windu needs to make a comeback? Would it be right if he did? Let me know in the comments, and until next time, I'll see you guys later.